What's up? What's up? What's up? All right, yeah, I guess we'll watch. I'm trying to find something better to watch. See if we can do YouTube. I'm gonna put Wizards Celtics on in Game 6, just for fun. Let's do it. If you guys have any questions, put them in the. Did that click on it? If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll try to answer them. In the meantime, I'm gonna put some Wizards Celtics Game 6 on. Hopefully it works. My first time doing YouTube on the stream. Yeah. Where is my? Chrome is being controlled by automated test software. It appears like it's not working. Uh, Hopefully it loads at some point. That would be pretty ideal, I think. Still not loading. It is not ideal. Again, if you have any questions for me, put them in the chat. That way I can read them off, try to answer some questions while we're at it, trying to get the YouTube to work. Just want to watch Bradley Beal, John Wall, will the Wizards to Game 7, but it appears I can't. I mean, like, I can seamlessly, like, click through, it seems, but I guess I'll remove it. Oh, maybe that's why, because it was streaming that. Remove NBA TV, and then maybe I can try to add YouTube. Oh, maybe that's why. Still loading. Um, Try it again. Wizards Celtics Game 6. Hopefully it'll load this time now that it looks like it's going quicker. There we go. Is there no audio for it? Um, Stable volume. Is the volume working for you guys? Because the volume is not working for me right now. I'll just play in the background without the sound, I guess. Stream to room. There we go. I think it works now. There we go. This game was sick. I remember Brad was like unbelievable from mid range, like he couldn't miss, but he genuinely didn't make a three until he hit the three to cut it to what, 87 to 85 with about 50 seconds left. And yeah, this wasn't prime Brad, but in terms of like playing within the flow of the game, not being the number one option, this is the best that he looked. Like for all like the threes that Brad missed too, for like how many points he scored, how the impact he had on the game. He's so fast, so fast. Bogdanovich was a low key underrated pickup. I think the Wiz traded what Andrew Nicholson's terrible contract to Brooklyn and a first round pick for Bogdanovich. I guess lottery protected one for Bogdanovich. It's a great trade. Brendan Jennings was on this team. Obviously a young KO. Avery Bradley, wizard killer. Step back was so pure, especially the mid range. Also, I always watch this back. This is probably like the 100th time I've watched this game. That was basket interference from Oubre. I don't really know why they didn't call it. Ugh. Yamahimi was one of the worst signings. Was that 4 years, $72 million? Missed it, ripped away. The Wizards played a really solid first half, and then I remember at the end they just couldn't buy one, and Boston kind of cut it into it. Tough. I mean, it's just money every time he gets the step back, which I don't know why he like. Maybe there's more space now or less space now, but like I don't know why he doesn't do that more often. Just his shot seems like he doesn't look for the midi anymore. Talk about and Al Horford just it was one of the best players in the. It would be a first ballot Hall of Famer easily. Who just played the Wizards. Big Keith. Fun fact: I actually went to the Wizards Knicks Christmas Day game when John did the 360 layup. Ran into Jason Smith's father-in-law at the train station. Fun fact. Otto really didn't do anything in this game now that I think about it. You keep looking back, every time I watch the highlights, he just isn't a factor. That's what I'm talking about. Like they just like kind of went on a flurry before half. Like the Wizards were dominating for the most part, going halftime down. And then remember they kind of come out slow at a half. It's a block. I know it's not. There's one play there. March stuffed him. Yeah, this is just a sequence where they just keep leaking out. And the Wizards score here, I think, and then Avery Bradley gets a leak out again. They were just inbounding it really quick. Yeah, they were just running. There's John. That midi that he added, the jumper was everything he needed. It's a big John three. Amir Johnson. It's a good shot. The Wizards just like for the playoffs, I don't know if it's the construction of like Cap One Arena, but it just like never seemed packed. Like this game, the crowd was sick, obviously, but like there just seemed like there was empty seats everywhere, and it just like wasn't like it wasn't really a playoff atmosphere until like the end of the game. It's just that's what the Wizards do. It's Washington. This is a sick play. Brad, what is it? The Brad dumped to Keith. Yeah, Brad just cooked Olenek all game. Cooked him. Blew by him. I always think, what if Kelly Oubre didn't run through Kelly Olynyk? What if he didn't get suspended? Like, would the Wizards have maybe stolen a game on the road? It's possible. Whew, filthy. There we go. I was watching this game with one of my friends' bar mitzvahs. I remember I almost didn't go because this is the biggest game I had seen in Wizards history, but I went anyway, and I was just watching the entire time. Avery Bradley always there to answer. Big John. You could tell Markeith Morris just couldn't be bothered to put up with Kelly Olynyk this series. He's so annoyed. There's the March block. Underrated. March, easily the most underrated player on this Wizards team. It's a tough shot. Again, I see. Like Mark Jones calling that. Like I love Mark Jones. It's the same thing with Mike Breed. Like, it's just like that's such a low moment when you thought IT hits the dagger there. You thought, okay, like it's the same old Wizards. Round two, game six, a chance to send it to seven. They just can't do it. That's what I thought to myself at the time. Um, but I guess you'll see in the next 1 minute 13 how it changed. This is the Beal three. That took guts. Before that, what was Brad like 0 of 7, 0 of 8 from three? And he just the game on the line pretty much. Wizards don't score there, they're probably done. He just pulls up in transition, nothing but net. Huge. Great D by John. Terrific ATO from Brad Stevens, man. His ATOs all series were elite, but he just cooked there. Of course, Avery Bradley makes it. This was clutch too. Got the switch on Olynyk. Brad off glass, a tough shot falling away. This is some of the most BS. Of course, it's against the Wizards type shot. Like a good look for Al Horford on the pick and roll. Absolutely terrible, terrible looking shot, and just banks it in. He did not mean to bank it in from like pretty much the 3 point line near the baseline. That's a hard angle. Just got bailed out. It's crazy because I'm gonna rewind it, but like I can't tell. I think I probably watched this shot 200, 300 times ever, which is crazy. And it never gets old. Never gets old. before what they don't show before this play is, like, they couldn't get it in. Like, Otto Porter was here. Literally, the call from Mark Jones, like, "Porter looking get it in, can't find anybody, gets to the wall, working against Bradley for 3." Then he says, "John Wall." It's probably the loudest I've heard Capital One Arena. Obviously, the biggest situation, the biggest moment, I think, for the Wizards there, I would assume. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, look at the crowd. Just crazy scenes. My favorite reaction is if you look, it's Trey Burke right here. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but Trey Burke next to the guy in the suit, which is I think is that Chris McCullough in the suit? But Trey Burke like jumps so high when he makes the three. Yeah, you see him right there. He literally jumps so high. Sorry, I'm watching it one more time. I mean, just insane scenes. Like look at everyone. It's packed. Like I said, like at the end of the game, I don't know if it's a late arriving crowd, but like it's a playoff atmosphere. It's the loudest I heard Cap one. Just insanely clutch shot. Like the Wizards hadn't reached Game 7 to get to the conference final in I don't know how long. Maybe honestly since '78. Like, well, I don't even know if they made the Game 7. They probably were just in the conference final. Like, it literally was the worst, or the closest they had been to the conference final in decades. And you can clearly see how big it was. To go for a three as well for John Wall there. I thought this shot. I would have told you 9 times out of 10. I thought the shot was going in. If IT banked that, that would have been the grossest way for a season to end. Like you think you're done, you come back. John hits the three to go up one. You're about to force it to Game 7 in Boston, and he just throws. If IT throws a prayer there and that goes in, what are you gonna do? Force a tough shot, didn't foul. But that would have been gross. What else can we watch? Wizards Hawks Game 6 is always fun. Game 6, 2017, before the Celtics game. Because this is where I watch this a lot too. John Wall just dominates, which is funny because last time that the Wizards played the Hawks in a Game 6, it was in 2015 when Paul Pierce hit the shot that people thought would send it to Game 7 in Washington, but it was too late. John broke his hand, was out for pretty much the whole series. I just remember in this series, just like the bad blood between the teams. Like the Hawks were just, it was so annoying after 2021, like or not 2021, I don't know what I'm thinking. After 2015, like the Wizards were better than the Hawks. And even that like unbelievable number one seed Hawks team that had 5 All-Stars or whatever, like the Wizards were the better team and they had their number and they would have beaten them if John didn't break his hand. And yeah, the whole game, I think that was that year. It's like game 5 in Atlanta, the Wizards could go up 3-2 even without John, and they're winning at the end, and Al Horford two-hand shoves Nene, gets the offensive rebound, they don't call it, he puts a layup at the buzzer. Just disgusting. Um, So, like, for the Wizards, I remember there were stories of, like, how John and Brad just sat silent in that locker room in 2015, just so annoyed and frustrated and upset that they had lost to the Hawks. Um, and then you go and fast forward to 2017, 2 years later, and they come out here and they beat them. Really cool story. Drew Gooden, I think, talked about that. Um, but yeah, this series was really fun. I went to game one, where Keith had a terrific game. Obviously, John and Brad played well, and Court had a poster dunk. That was in 2017 over, I think, Dwight Howard. John hits a shot over Wizards legend Mike Muscala. I think someone asked him. I was going to ask him at media day when Muscala was on the Wizards 2 years ago, I guess. I guess a year ago. I was going to ask him about this series, and because he ended up hitting in, I think it was 2015, when the Hawks had come back before Paul Pierce hit the I called game shot. He hit the three to tie the game after the Wizards were like 21 in the fourth, and he hit it to tie the game. It appears the YouTube link is frozen. Um, there we go. Um, but yeah, that series was fun in 2017 too. Um, Millsap just feasted against Washington, man. Feasted. Looked like a Hall of Famer. Yeah, I mean, this was a game where, like, the Hawks pretty much dominated. There was the game where, like, the John clip is from, where he, like, drives 1 on 3 and, like, goes behind the back and then posterizes someone with the left hand in Atlanta. I'm pretty sure that's from game 3, where the Wizards just got blown out, sorry. Um, and then they come out and lose obviously the next game, win at home in a tough game 5, and come out here in Atlanta and just dominate. Like, they wanted to end the series. They wanted to move on to Boston. They were clearly the better team, and it showed. It's kind of crazy looking at it. Like, this Hawks team, man, like, they're okay. Like, Schroeder was pretty solid, and, like, obviously Dwight Howard was okay. Millsap was their best player, but, like, for Paul Millsap to be your best player and, like, you make it as the 5 seed in the East, like, that's pretty impressive coaching job from Budenholzer there. He's to see why he's won Coach of the Year. Um, what's also crazy is you have all these teams, all the number 1 seed, Toronto teams, then the 1 seed Hawks, and every year, no matter the seed, Cleveland and LeBron just somehow beat them, and they killed them too, like, it wasn't even close. I'm pretty sure they swept Atlanta. If they didn't, then it was in 5. Swept the Raptors multiple times. Like, it's the LeBron is LeBron. It is tough. Like, that's the one thing that sucks about the 2017 loss is, like, I don't know if the Wizards could have beat the Cavs. Probably not. But, like, a series against LeBron in the playoffs is always cool. And at least you wanted a chance to at least see if you could knock them off in 2017. Because this was the year, the I think the first this 2017 year had to be the first KD year, right, in, Golden State? Because they won 17, 18, and then he tore his Achilles in 19, and then he was in Brooklyn, I believe. Yeah, I mean, John Wall just the Hawks kinda came back, and then John just said, it's done." I actually think they cut it to, like, 1 or 2. Like, I this is so typical of the Wizards to just implode, but John and Brad were basically just like, "We're gonna end it." That's what you want from your 2 stars. Just took over, and we're like, basically, we're not going back to Washington to play game 7, we're going to Boston, and, oh, this was disgusting. Behind the back cross, and 1 too, like, completely hit there. No, this is where you knew it was over. He was just not missing even from mid-range to Keith. He was so good at going up for the shot and then just midair realizing, "Oh, I have a wide open pass for a layup." Timeout. Look at Sato. Is that Sato? Yeah, I think it is. He's out of the league. That's crazy. He's actually playing for Barcelona. He was great. Just money. There's John. I think he was talking to like Julio Jones. Um, Smart play from Brad to bring it out. Pretty sure John was talking trash to Julio courtside. Yeah, lost it there. Yep. Really good closeout game. I think this would probably be up there with the best Wizards games. Obviously of this like team, this era. But like to come out here and beat Atlanta 2 years after they ended your season on their home floor too. Obviously that's what you want. Yes, Sato. Scott Brooks, man. A guy that didn't get enough credit for all he did here. I think the Wizards was like a number one offense some of the times here, and like he didn't really have great defenders. Um, and they were close. What's another game that was fun? Um, One game. I mean, the Wizards lost this game, I think, where Brad had 50 to the Bucks, but like it was a really fun game. Yeah, this is the one. And I remember it was the craziest play was Mo Wagner um, takes a charge to foul Giannis out. And then like in overtime, Middleton just like was unbelievable. It's actually the other one the championship. Is it? No. No, yeah, this was the year Golden State won. Oh, never mind. This is the wrong game. Yeah. It had to be 2020. It had to be 2021 because I think it was the year that they won the title. May 5th? No, it was in Washington. Um, no, that's over COVID. It was after COVID. Yeah, the Wizards were. How can I not find this game? Um, Let me look it up. Beal scores 50 versus Bucks. Um, February 24th, 2020. I guess yeah. Oh, so it was before the bubble then. So it wasn't when they won. Feb 24, 2020. So this was like right before COVID. And I mean this, yeah, there it is. Because I knew they were wearing these. I love these district uniforms. I mean, look for you got Jan Mahimi taking the tip, man. What are we doing? This is the last year of Jan Mahimi's terrible contract in Washington. Yeah, I did. Bradley Beal could have missed. It's funny, like this is the team, a legitimate team, and like yeah, John was hurt. Look how young Rui looks. Rookie year Rui. Rookie year Rui was something. Like he was so just raw. Like mid range, like you could tell he had it down. Just a line drive. Remember the year Giannis win MVP? It's possible. Yeah, I mean Brad was just the best this year. Average 30. Remember didn't make the All-Star game, but valid. The Wizards were bad. But I mean literally their let's go back actually for a second and see who their starting lineup was. The Wizards starting lineup, and I'm not saying that they were trying to like contend because at this point they were probably like nearly 20 games under 500, but it was legitimately Bradley Beal, Ish Smith is your backcourt, Bonga, rookie Rui Hachimura, and Ian Mahimi as your starting five. That's like a serious NBA starting five. I mean, Brad was phenomenal this year. I felt bad the whole year. Like the memes where his head is in his hands and all that, like, fully I fully get this. This was before Supermax, he was on an extension at this time, so, like, I fully understood, look, he's the best player on this team, everyone else is so bad. I mean, look, you got Jerome Robinson here. This is right after the deadline. What is that? Is that Shabazz Napier right here? Troy Brown Jr., Mo Wagner. Who is that? Is that Garrison Matthews? Like, this team was so bad roster wise, and he still managed to put up numbers. Didn't really help when they were empty stats, but still, like, that's crazy to me that that was the real starting five you threw out there with this guy. I can't believe he stayed. It was at this point that, like, Philly and other teams, like Sacramento, were probably offering, like, 4 firsts and 4 swaps and all that for Beal, and he just, like, wanted to stay in DC. I At this point, it was kinda like a respect, but then later down the line, the Supermax contract, it was kinda like, "Alright, bro, like, you gotta see the writing on the wall. It's time to go." There's Bonga's defense, just running into a shooter. I think Bonga is genuinely like we Wizards fans, like they were just kind of like this team's not good. Who cares? I think Bonga was one of the worst basketball players that the Wizards had in the last couple of years. Like he was so bad. He offered nothing. Defense was like maybe it's good, but like I think that was kind of like a facade. Like I feel like he kind of stuck on defense, and people just thought because he's length that he was like good. Could barely like if he made a three, it was either nothing but net or an air ball. Like it was just like you'd be surprised with the way he shot that the shot actually went in. Yamahimi with the steal. Napier was actually a really fun guy to watch. I really enjoyed watching him. It's crazy. Like Rui's turned into a great basketball player. Denny Avdia is a really good basketball player. Corey Kispert's a really solid player. It's just like Tommy Shepard was great at drafting these role players. That would have been great to pair with like a prime John and Brad. But you had a John fresh off an Achilles tear and bone spurs and just really wasn't the same. You decided to trade him for Russ, and now you got all these young guys, and you're just kind of like, what's going on? Which is crazy because at this time, like John Wall was fully still on the Wizards, and I don't know if he like went to games during that time. I don't remember because I don't remember really seeing him too much. I guess on the bench, but like dealing with the Achilles and all that, he pretty much missed toward early in the year, missed pretty much that full year, and then was out the whole next year as well. The Wizards were in a terrible spot to like no man's land. What do we even do? They traded him, which sucks because he was finally healthy, and yeah, they probably wouldn't have done anything, but like let's see what they can do. And they decided, no, I don't want you to do that. And they had Gafford at this point too. Um, when for they traded John. Yeah, maybe I guess the year before because they had yeah, because the Jerome Robinson trade was last deadline because they had traded IT. They had IT the year before, which is crazy because even the year before, I mean, what you had Troy Brown Jr. as your rookie, and then Isaiah Thomas was like your starting point guard. And look at Brad like turning it over and throwing it down. Like he was different. At this point, I think he was a top 10 player in the league. He was just unbelievable. You got to think like you had guys like Kyle Kuzma complaining that like it's hard and Jordan Poole, like the whole scouting reports now shifted on them. The Wizards' literal best player that they started with Bradley Beal was probably a rookie Rui Hachimura, who wasn't even good. And the entirety of the scouting report was to guard Brad, double him, and he still got 30 a game efficiently too. Like he was so good. It's crazy why it's not working in Phoenix. But look, I mean 102, 90, 89. I mean Brad's obviously killing at this point, but like I remember thinking this game was probably over and the bench kind of kept him in it without Beal, which you didn't think would happen. At this point, like this Bucks team was like near the top of the league. Ended up lose to Miami in the bubble. I think they did, yeah. Lost to Miami in the bubble. I also remember that this team didn't play a lick of defense whatsoever. They just tried to outscore everybody. Another midi, automatic. Again, just so late with rotations, scrambling. They played no defense. Yeah, down 11 with like 5 minutes left. Like these crowds were actually sick. I remember all year, like this team was actually so fun. Just because like it didn't matter, nothing mattered. They were just playing. Like it didn't matter if they won or lost because they were never going to be good enough to get a top pick. But they also were never even close to the playoffs. And this is pre-playing as well. It's like they were not even close. I mean, butter. Like it's not even touching the rim. Still locked in. And this keep in mind, this is a literal day. This is the second of a back to back. This is a literal day after the Wizards lost by a lot to Chicago, and Bradley Beal had what 53, and then he follows it up, I think, with 55 here. I'm pretty sure. I mean, so well, you got Mo Wagner in hell right there. There we go. Yeah, there it was. I mean, look how hype Mo gets, pounding his chest. I'll rewind that. Fighting Mo, fighting for position like he does down 3, and I think Giannis, like, throws him away. You can I'm gonna try to pinpoint the exact moment where he flops. Should be right here. Oh, that's perfect. Look at him, like, Giannis, like, kinda does a swim move to kinda be like, "Hey, I'm getting inside position here," and then Mo just flails it back. This guy, number 18 right there, the ref, he got completely fooled. Like, yeah, maybe offensive foul, but, like, this late in the game, with a guy like Mo Wagner that you know flops a lot, call it. Look at him flop, fall like 12 yards back. Oh, that this ref called it back here. I guess he didn't see the complete flail of the head from this guy, so why probably he didn't call it. But you can see how hype everyone gets. This was sick. Brad waving goodbye over here. I think Brad hits a 3 here. Yeah, on the run. This is disgusting. Butter. Like, he's not even touching the rim. God, look, I wanna go to the back to the bench. Look at the bench. This is the Wizards. When I always said the Wizards get good players, develop them in like the G League, and then they let the oh, there's John, and then they let them go. Like you talk about Jordan Goodwin, you talk about um, who just left the Jared Butler. You talk about guys like that. The OG is Gary Payton the second. He was signed, and then they released him, and they brought him back, and he had like 3 or 4 steals against the Knicks. He was so good, and the Wizards were kind of like, eh. And then they let him go, and he goes off, wins the title in Golden State, staple on that team. So you got Thomas Bryant. I guess he was injured. Admiral Schofield, Ansez pass sneaks. Only real ones know Ansez pass sneaks. He they signed him for a couple of games, and then you got like Jared Utoff. They signed for the bubble, if you know him. Yeah, look at John Mike Longobardi, the defensive coach. He's a really short guy. I remember that. I want to go back to this. This was sick. I was literally just like, "Oh my god, there's no way they actually win this game." Like, listen to Cap 1. That was gross. Like, Cap 1 is loud when the team even like, they're not even winning, but, like, the Wizards do have fans. The issue is just, like, tickets not only are more expensive, and I have an article coming about this probably on Friday, but, like, they now, like, instead of under the basket, they have, like, the Michelob Ultra Lounge, which is like like, if you're going out to, like, a bar, there's, like, high top tables to, like, do business and have cat like, it's a basketball game, man. Put seats there. Watch the game. And on the other side, you got the Hennessy Lofts, which is these big booths for these celebrities and these high-paying guests to chill in nice seats and watch a game fully catered. Like, put seats there. if you want a good atmosphere, stop trying to get the most money out of your fans and just go. That's what I would say. Like, this would have been electric if Beal made it. I love this. I also love that Scott Brooks just let them play. He rarely called timeouts in these situations. Again, Brad made the right play. Should probably called a timeout. It was his legend, Brook Lopez. Pray for the Wiz the next season. Look at Rui, man. Look at rookie Rui, man. Beal, bang. Unbelievable. Crazy. Brutal. Nearly forced steal. He ain't missing. Uh, I forget what this play was like. Oh, in and out. 55 points. And they lost. Crazy. All right, we could probably fit probably one more, maybe two more games in. Um, or some other games. In the Bulls game, he was pretty good. Sixers, actually, they won that game. That was in COVID. But yeah, he dropped 50 and they won with Russ. Maybe like Wizards, Hornets. When would that? Well, that had to be like May 2021, or no, it was 2022, I think. No, it was 2021. Yeah, this was the game. There's not really fans here, but like this was the game where like the Wizards were. It was like to get the 8 seed and go play at Boston in the play in, or get the 9 seed. Have to have win a home game. I think it was against who was it? Atlanta, maybe? I don't know. Um, no way, but yeah, it was like the either that or I think it was Chicago actually. But yeah, they really wanted to if they lost the first game, at least have a home game for the play-in tournament, which they dominated. They played it was Indiana. Yeah, they dominated Indiana because Indiana played Charlotte ended up dropping to the 10 seed. They played at Indiana, got destroyed by Indiana. Indiana came to play the play-in game versus the Wizards and got killed. Yeah, this is the final game of the regular season. Crazy scenes. Just getting dominated. Could have missed. The Wizards always had an issue with Charlotte for years. Could never win there. I mean, Devontae Graham killed the Wiz too. Ish Smith. Loved Ish Smith. Heard he's a great person. He's on the Wizards coaching staff, actually. Yeah, terrific career for Ish Smith. Russ was so fun. So frustrating at times, but very fun. Ugh, Davis Bertans and the big 2025. Did not think that would be on the agenda for today. To be fair, there was the one game Davis had at the Hornets. The Wizards lost, of course. And honestly, it was I think it was a year before this, before they had Russ. But he legitimately, I think he had like 30 or like 29, but he literally couldn't miss. Like Eric Collins, the Hornets announcer that like screams all the time, just couldn't believe that Davis. Maybe we'll watch that next. As the last thing we watched tonight. But he just couldn't miss. Ugh. I mean, Terry Rozier, Wizard killer. Devontae Graham, Wizard killer. Like you just had a team of Wizards killers for Charlotte. They weren't good against anybody else. And the crazy part is, this is the most talented roster they had around Lamelo Ball. I didn't think he was a rookie Lamelo Ball, but like this is clearly the most talented roster they had around him. I mean, Graham and Rozier as your guards, Bridges, PJ Washington. I mean, Cody Zeller's not great, but he was all right. Who else they have? They have Jeremy Lamb. Uh, Miss Gafford as a Wizard. He was so fun. The board there, and he turns it over. My fault. Killer. Davis was just so bad on defense. So bad on defense. Great look. Jaden McDaniels, full circle. He's on the go-go now. On the Capital City go-go. He's actually playing really well. I mean, I wonder. I doubt I'll get a call up. Maybe a playoff team thinks he's worth a shot or worth a look. That was huge. Just literally. Oh gosh, I thought he would have made that. Brutal. There's Davis. No, because his shot is flawless. He can shoot over anybody. He's got a really high release point. He just sucked the entire year. Blew by Rui there. Oh, this was the Robin Lopez game. Captain Hook. Captain Hook dominated. Charlotte could not guard him. Literally the Robin Lopez game. Yeah, like I said, the Wizards were kind of trailing the entire game. I remember for like the play-in or like the playoff game, it might have been this game. Like Chandler Hutchinson came out TikToking, like fully on his phone, taking a video for his like day in life TikTok, and then he decided, I think, the next year to retire. I think I remember. So crazy. He was a first round pick, high pick for Chicago. Traded with Gafford in the trade. I think Washington sent. It wasn't Otto, was it? It might have. No, I think it was the year like before traded Otto for Gaff and Hutchinson. Traded him with Wagner too, which was unfortunate because I really liked him here. Big close to the quarter. Killer. Yep. deflating. Wizards were down 11 going into the fourth, and then you have Ish Smith. The Ish Smith takeover is coming at some point. Bang. Really good ball movement. Ish breaks down the D. Oh, Garrison Matthews just caught up on the screen, man. Can't have it. Not good. Not a good game from him. I remember screaming no when he took it. When he took that shot. That was most Russ threes. He's asking them to talk. They're probably saying, shoot it. Unreal. Wizards have the lead. Pumping in the crowd noise because there's no fans. At this point, it was kind of near the summer. It was May. Like I feel like a lot of teams had fans, but the Wizards really just never did. And then they had like 8 fans for the playoff game. When I was at the Sixers playoff game, like the Wizards Sixers game, game one, I mean they had pretty much 50% capacity. I think it was loud. Yeah, I remember this. The whistles were so late this game. So late. Low point of the game right here, down 5. Again, they couldn't guard Robin. That was a travel. He switched the pivot foot. They were right. The Charlotte bench was right to be mad about it. Steal, Ish Smith. Ooh, breaks his ankles there. Goes and one. This is a crazy game, back and forth. Ish Smith. Ish Smith taking over on a team with Russ and Brad. Ish Smith taking over. Makes both. I'm surprised they didn't call a timeout here. Justin Kutcher on the call. Didn't even realize until now. A lot of people weren't happy with him in the call. I thought it was all right. Just called a really mid time in Wizards history. That's for the Pacers playing game, and then we can call it a night. But yeah, this game was so fun to watch. I mean, the Wizards just absolutely dominated. Dominated. I remember being close kind of in the beginning, but then they just ran away with it. Mm. His eye. His eye, man. Good take from Russ. It is crazy to think about. Like, this was genuinely a team that the Wizards were like, yeah, we can compete. And they were the 18, and they were 34 and 38. Like, they were awful. It just, and it wasn't like even due to injuries. They were just terrible. Really bad roster, and they weren't going anywhere. And yet, to get this roster, they traded a first round pick, heavily protected at that, to get Russ, even though John was fully healthy. And because of that, they ended up obviously with all the protection. So like it's top 10 protected this year, then top 8 the year after this year to the Knicks, and then you got what 2 second round picks it turned into in 2026, 27. That could be valuable seconds too. So it's like a terrible trade. And then you turn around. The Rush trade was great. The Wizards clearly won that trade. the same thing, they should have traded Brad earlier, and yet they still clearly won the Brad trade with Phoenix. Clearly won the Chris Paul trade with Golden State. It's a matter of where do those really get the Wizards? Does it get them anywhere? Does it move the needle? And so far, I mean, they didn't move the needle for the Russ trade, clearly. Even they were 10-3 after they traded Russ and had all the new players from LA with Kuz and KCP and all them. And then that one fell apart, traded a bunch of those guys, and then still were like, let's try to make it work with Brad. And they were like, okay, like it's done. Tommy Shepard's fired. We're moving on. Great pass, by the way, by Russ there. And they finally decided to rebuild with a new front office and everything, but took them long enough. Took them long enough. Like, they make good trades, but it's like rectifying bad trades. Like the Gaff trade was great. KP trade, great trade with Dallas. Brad trade was great. Russ trade to trade Russ was great, but it's also bad trade to get Russ in the first place. Bad trade not trading Brad when you could have gotten so much for him. Um, Bad, signing Otto when you didn't need to. Nicholson was bad. Mahimi's bad. So like you're not always going to make the best moves. But I feel like the Wizards were always making good moves, but those were like catch-up moves, like moves in response to the already bad move that led to them having to make that move, if that makes sense. Beast. He was so good. He is so good. He's hurt right now. He's probably out another like month maybe for Dallas with a knee sprain, but yeah, hopefully he gets healthy because he was great in their finals run last year. Like they were just hanging around and hanging around the entire game. And then I think this is probably where the Wizards kind of like pull away a little bit. Great look. That duo was really fun, Russ and Dap. I knew they would be. Home run, touchdown, whatever you call it. What a pass. Yeah, you can kind of start to feel it now. I mean, they couldn't be stopped. They like put up 80 points in the first half. Offense. I mean, this offense was so good. Their defense sucked. Defense was terrible, but like offensively, they couldn't be stopped. And playing game, season on the line, to get the 8 seed, and you put up an 80-point first half. Triple double for Russ with 10 minutes left in the third quarter. Crazy. And that was regular. Like, that wasn't even big news last year or, in what, 2021 when this game was played, when he set the season record for triple doubles and the all-time record for triple doubles. Just unbelievable. I guess not the season record, but the all-time record. Yeah, they're just dominating. With like 8 minutes left, they're gonna have 100 points. Offense was clicking all game. Like I don't even think Indiana makes like a run. Like I'm pretty sure it's literally just like Washington ahead by 20 plus the rest of the game. I could be wrong. Neto. Neto was a really solid player here. And so was Ish Smith, to be fair, but just a collection of like veterans and like Rui and Troy Brown. Like that's kind of the team. It's a very weirdly constructed team, and obviously a first round exit as a result. Big trades in that offseason as a result. Never sustainable for the whatever limited success you had by making the playoffs barely by a game. I wouldn't play in. Yeah, I mean this is the Sixers game, the game four that they won with Rui hitting the dagger three in the right corner. Um, that's their last playoff win. What was that like May? Uh, late May of 21, so pretty much nearly 4 years since they've won a playoff game, since they've been in the playoffs realistically. I mean, yeah, they did come back a little, cut to 14 there, but ish answers towards the end of the third. Now it's back up to 19. They score here. I mean, everything's going right when Davis is clicking. I don't know how good he was this game, but he made a three, so it's probably better than what he usually did. Robin Lopez catching lobs, leads back up to 20 entering the fourth, just like that. So yeah, the team is pretty solid. Pretty pretty like all over the place with like young talent and like decently not young talent. Some veterans in there too. I mean, just dominating. And like the game's not even over at this point. But yeah, he was clicking. That's how you know it's over. I'm pretty sure Tatum dropped 50 in the play-in game. I'm almost certain he did on the Wizards drop 50. He dropped 50 on the Wizards in that first playoff game. And they got the 7 seed. I think they were swept, right, by Brooklyn. Then a couple years later, Boston turns around, sweeps the Nets. Crazy. Kind of similar to what we talking about with Atlanta. Beats Washington in six that one year in 2015. Turn around 2 years later, 2017. Washington goes into their home, beats them in six. Yeah, they were just cooking. 140, 142 with 4 minutes left. Crazy work. Wow, that iconic call. 150. And that's the thing, like they played great offense. They've given up 140. Like they played no defense whatsoever. Having 150 with 2 minutes left and the game not being like over or a blowout is crazy. But that's the dagger right there. That ends it. 24 assists in the game to keep their season alive. Russell Westbrook, 24 assists. Triple double too. Phenomenal. What's this? No, this is a Trailblazers game. Okay. Yeah, I think that's probably gonna do it for the stream. Bit of an hour. Watched a couple of Wizards games. Um, that Boston obviously series was really fun. Indiana, that whole 2021 season was all over the place, but it was fun with Russ, and then obviously Brad averaged 30 points. He was phenomenal. Um, 34 and 38 made the play-in. Tatum drops 50 in Boston. Season might be over, and you come back to DC, and then you just drop a casual 154 like to beat the Pacers. Russ has a 24 assist triple double. Pretty crazy. But back to this year's Wizards, they're obviously 9-45, entering the last part of the season. 28 games remaining. Got a 3.5 lead over the Pelicans for the worst record of the league, which is obviously tanking wise what the Wizards are gunning for. Um, if they do secure that, they would guarantee themselves a top five pick. If you have the worst record, you can't fall anywhere in the lottery outside the top five. They have the, I think, second easiest strength of schedule in the league. So, like, it's not like they're going to be playing that many hard teams. I mean, every team's better than them, clearly. But they're going to play some Charlotte, some Toronto three more times, I believe. I don't even think they've gone to Toronto this year. So they still have to go there twice, one more against Toronto. Toronto killed them by like 20 plus the last time. That was like a month ago. Yeah, early February in DC. So they got to play them a couple of times. Charlotte, I think, one more time. Um, Probably Brooklyn. So like they have some easy games too, but they're also the worst team. So they should probably lose a lot of those technically easy games. Obviously, you want to see Bub Carrington, Keyshawn George have been playing great, both shooting over 50% from three on a high volume since the Kyle Kuzma trade. That's a 4 game sample size. They've been great. XR returned. He was a little rusty against Indiana, but he's back post All Star break. Hopefully, he can start to ascend. Bilal Coulibaly had a triple double in the first game without Kuz. He's been pretty solid. Then you got AJ Johnson. Maybe he'll play. Middleton Smart practice today, according to Josh Robbins. of the Athletic, but they didn't scrimmage because they didn't have a scrimmage. I don't know about Colby Jones, but he played with the Go-Go before, so like he should be healthy. I think they will be healthy. I think it's just a matter of like will they play, and I guess we'll figure that out on Friday. I'll be back on stream with I think my guy Kevin on Friday for the Bullets Forever stream, watching the Wizards game at home against the Bucks. Kyle Kuzma returns to DC. That should be fun to see what the reaction is, whether Wizards fans boo him, which I think they might, or if they cheer him, which I'm sure it'll be pretty faint either way. But yeah, stay tuned for that. And that's probably gonna wrap up with the stream. So thank you all for watching. We'll be back on Friday.